guess they want to shrink my belly, but there's no place on earth that is this smelly. I'm wearing football pads in summer.
Boy, you're slow.
I'm very big and large, and that's a bummer. I guess they want to shrink my belly,
Come on.
but there's no place on earth that is this smelly.
Back on the Rob Dibble Show with Ben Darnell on your afternoon drive. Time to talk some NFL camps.
Tomorrow.
Nothing better than giant, smelly men sweating all wherever they are in the summer.
I love camp, man. I don't know why people poo-poo camp. I mean, I guess if you're a grown man and you want to see your wife and kids every night, but it's just 3 weeks, maybe 4. I don't know. It's your job. And it's
Do they still lock guys away?
Lock them away? What do you mean?
Like in a dormitory where they can't see anybody?
It's camp, man.
Who was the guy years ago that tried to sneak a girl in? Got in big trouble.
Are you sure that's not COVID?
No.
Were we thinking COVID camp?
It might have been COVID camp.
I think it was COVID camp.
Dude tried to sneak his girlfriend in and got caught.
The Orlando bubble, I do believe. Who was that? Was that Anthony Davis? Yeah, I don't want to put that on him.
No.
Camp, man. So I'm familiar with Panthers camp more than anything. They have theirs at Wofford University. I think they still do. They did it because that was the alma mater of the former owner, Jerry Richardson. So it was a quick run down from Charlotte to Wofford in South Carolina. Plus, the Carolina Panthers, I know nobody cares about it around here, but it's Carolina, not North Carolina. So it was a chance for the Panthers to have some kind of presence in South Carolina. But that was a university, and everyone showed up with their pillow and their book bag and their, nighties and whatever they have for camp time. And then it's just all football, baby. And I think, I don't know, maybe I'm an old fuddy-duddy, but I think that camp is the best time to get the rookies in and kind of get them in tune acclimated with your culture and what you're doing.
You're not in college anymore, young guys.
Right, and it's a good way to get to know a lot of people, a good way to actually get chemistry going. These quarterbacks that don't want to show up, that it's below them, I don't know, man. I take the Tom Brady approach. More reps, the better. If we got to go out to the beach or the park in Tampa Bay to get it done, we got to get it done. But
yeah, because the linemen need to build themselves into a unit. You like you said, the quarterbacks got to be able to throw to these guys, and they've got to be able to lock in. So the more you can practice. I remember Tom Brady when he went to Tampa Bay, he got yelled at or kicked out because it was COVID.
And he was COVID.
And he was in a park.
Yep.
And they were like, you can't be out in this park practicing football. Yeah, I mean, you're talking to future Hall of Famer Tom Brady and his wide receivers and tight ends and stuff.
And they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, how ridiculous was that if we look back on it? But it's like you're trying to build this camaraderie between, your teammates into these units. And that's how football is played. And if you don't have that cohesiveness, you're not going to win. You're not going to win anything.
Well, there's some people that are not at camp. There's some people that just showed up and got cleared for camp. And there's some people that are camp that got a big pink elephant following them around. And sometimes we got to talk about that stuff. Let's start with the guy that's not at camp. Trey Hendrickson has been posting on his social media today the great time he's having in Florida, basically telling the Bengals, I'm not at camp.
Right.
And, he is a defensive end. He is one of the best defensive ends. I do think there's some benefits of him being there for the team, for actually getting wins in the future. But I do think there's some benefits as far as his deal and leveraging his ownership to pay him. Now, they've just paid a lot of offensive guys, which they don't really have a problem on offense, Dibs. The problem is stopping the scoring. So the defense, you would think, is somewhat of a priority. And you'd think Trey Hendrickson would be a big priority in that equation, but
Mike Brown
doesn't look like
to give
he's
you background on the owner of the Bengals, Mike Brown. He is as stubborn as he is old.
He's not flinching.
He's a lawyer. His daughter's a lawyer, and she's the president, and she's actually the one in charge of these contracts. And it wasn't easy to get all of the contracts done for the wide receivers. Once Burrow signed, he was one of the first ones to be saying this. But like Ben said, you got to have defense. You're going to score some points, but you got to have defense. And Hendrickson's one of the best end rushers in the game, and he wants to be paid accordingly. And, Mike Brown is like, listen, you have a contract that runs through this season. I don't want to have to pay you more until the time comes. He's like one of those old negotiators from yesteryear that these young guys, they can't understand his mentality, but his mentality is, this is my team, this is my money, and I'm not going to part with it unless I want to, and no matter what you say or do. Now, I like what Trey's doing here. This is exactly what we did during our strike, was go away. Don't look like you want to play football. Don't look like you want to play baseball is what we did. Go fishing. Go sit at the beach. Go look like you're getting fat and happy, not doing anything. That is going to hurt us in the end. So that gets people to come to the negotiating table. So everything he's doing is the right way. But they've got a problem with one of their rookies too. Yep. So this isn't the only problem. So Shamar Stewart remains unsigned, and I was just saying about what this guy, he's living in yesteryear as a 90-year-old. He talks about one of the reasons he doesn't want to guarantee the whole rookie deal is because we, meaning the Bengals, don't want to be stuck for a contract guaranteed if that player is sitting in jail. Okay. I mean, this kid's coming out of college. He's 21 years old. And
why'd you draft him?
Right.
If you think he might go to jail,
exactly.
Why would you draft him?
If you thought this guy was so much of a problem. But he doesn't understand. Those kind of remarks haven't worked in 10 years. They're not politically correct. It's certainly not going to make Stewart want to sign anytime soon with you.
Or another contract.
Yeah,
the next
exactly.
One comes
so, I mean, you have to treat people with dignity. And once you remove that, and you start talking about, hypotheticals and possibly the color of his skin. Listen, what is it? 70 plus percent of the NFL are African American players. 80 plus percent in the NBA are African American players. You can't make any kind of comments like this pertaining to anything in their culture or background, or you're not going to just offend him. You're going to offend every African American and every player in that Bengals locker room. So Mike Brown, being the idiot that he is, should have just stuck to, hey, we're not guaranteeing this because we don't have to guarantee this. And just because other teams have guaranteed it doesn't mean that the Bengals are going to guarantee it. But he doesn't know when to stop talking. And in Cincinnati, you think it's such a small little market, but because of the social media, because of the internet, this stuff explodes. And now you're going to have kind of a stalemate here with your rookie player.
I just think of Carson Palmer having to retire to get away from this organization.
Oh my, he hated Mike Brown.
And then went to Arizona, had a great career after that. And that was such a head scratcher to, why would you retire at such, he's sick of getting hit. No, he's sick of his ownership, man. He's sick of getting a team, an offensive line, wide receivers to throw to where he just gets his head bashed in the whole time. And he knows that's not good for his health and not good for his career. And Burrow might be looking at this kind of situation.
Yeah. But, I mean, Burrow's got his contract. He's got a lot of years left. He just got his wide receivers locked in. I mean, but, again, he should go out there and be like, listen, cooler heads have to prevail. We want to get this young kid in there. He's really going to help us and say all the right things as a team leader. But you can't fight Mike Brown. He's 90. He's from an era that has long since been past. I played for an owner that even in the 80s and 90s, when Marge Schott owned the Reds, would say the most offensive, infuriating things she could think of because that was normal for them. And I'm not saying it's right, and I don't condone any of it, but these people, especially Mike Brown, has been saying this stuff for 40 years, back to when I played in Cincinnati. So it doesn't shock me that he's stupid enough to say this in 2025. Take it with a grain of salt. Fight for every last dime you can, just like you said with Carson Palmer, because that's the kind of person you're dealing with Mike Brown.
I think Jerry Jones is really thanking Mike Brown for taking some heat off of him because he's got the same situation with Micah Parsons, who a lot of people think is even better than Trey Hendrickson. And now couple that with Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, and all these guys that have just gotten paid. Like this defensive end summer, it's a summer of the defensive end getting paid.
But we said this when TJ Watt signed, that now Jerry Jones has a jumping off point. I know exactly 41 to 44 million annually that I got to pay this guy, and I'm not going to budge, either way. And listen, you shouldn't have. Dak Prescott, I didn't want you to sign him, but you did because you had to, I guess. I mean, you need quarterbacks, and you've got the salary cap to play with and that kind of stuff. I don't want to spend another person's money, but Micah Parsons is one of the top 5, if not top 3, quarterback rushers in the game. So just pay the guy and move on. But here's the thing. Jerry, like Mike Brown, love to control the narrative. They love the attention. If you don't think that old curmudgeon in Cincinnati doesn't love the attention right now, where all eyes are on him in Cincinnati, or Jerry Jones, all eyes are on me in Dallas, these guys love the attention, man. You wouldn't be going on a local radio show once a week if at his age, Jerry Jones, if you didn't love the attention.
A lot of attention tomorrow in Foxborough for their new receiver, Stephon Diggs. He got a lot of attention about a month ago with his boat ride that he had with his girlfriend and all those friends.
Pink powder.
But he's got cleared today, so he's ready to play from that hamstring injury that he suffered in Houston. Should be ready to go, and he's going to be a big part, man. If Drake May is going to be successful, he's got to have receivers to throw to. Mac Hollins still listed as being injured. Stephon Diggs, to get out there and to get some decorum, some chemistry with the new quarterback and the rest of the receivers, I think is huge for the Patriots right now moving forward.
Well, and I'm with you on this whole thing with the quarterbacks and their wide receivers and stuff like. You got to have great people to throw to and stuff like that. But we talk about this all the time in the off season. How many guys wind up in trouble when they have too much time in their hands? Actually, get into camp. Start doing football stuff. Stop making headlines for the wrong reasons. And honestly, my thing that I wanted to come back is, do you think Drake May is like a top 10 quarterback? Because that's all I hear from the pundits. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, Drake May, this is going to be his breakout year.
Top 10 in the AFC East? Yeah. Okay, maybe that. The NFL? Not yet, man. Not yet.
Dude, man,
in quarterbacking
we love to anoint people's stars.
Every starting
before
quarterback
they've
is a top
earned
10
it.
quarterback in this.
You gotta earn it,
Right.
man. And you know how you do that? You do it with wins. You got a new head coach in Vrabel. He's trying to rebuild this organization in the tough guy image that he was as a player, and everywhere he's gone, he's done that. But it takes time to get the kind of roster together that you enjoy.
I always try to tell listeners this, like every single year, no matter which market I'm in, one of the coolest things in sports is to go to an NFL training camp day.
Oh, yeah.
Just to spend a day at practice. You're not going to watch games, but you're going to see your team, especially if you're a super fan. Like if you're one of these diehards of the Jets, the Giants, the Patriots, make a plan for it. If you go to their website, believe it or not, it's all free. You don't have to pay for any of it. You just have to register to get a ticket with the Giants and the Jets. I think you can just show up to Foxborough, but again, double check, especially for parking. Foxborough starts tomorrow. Our man, Game Day Connor, is the man on the microphone all season long for the New England Patriots. So that's cool.
Well, I loved the Cowboys because when I lived in L.A., they were 30 minutes away from me in Oxnard, California, and Camarillo, that area out there, which is kind of like out in the middle of nowhere. It's like a desert near the water.
Right.
And, I went to their camps a couple of times because I like watching how coaches are coaching. You got like 20 coaches.
Same.
You got little groups, and they're trying to give these guys know how to play football. But they need a few extra tricks of the trade and stuff like that, little cheat codes that only the coaches can unlock for you. And you bring in some of the best minds that you could find. Baseball doesn't do that anymore. Baseball's got a bunch of Ivy League nerds running their sport. Football is still football. You still got guys that are out there grinding out these practices and stuff like that. No, they can't put pads on 3 times a day anymore and do 3 a days, but mentally, these guys are coached up pretty well in camps.
I love the little drills. Because you don't see that on Sunday. You never get like any kind of footage in practice. These training camps are where you can kind of teach football. And some of these guys too, like just looking at Patriots, they've got 4 tight ends. They've got a guy by the name of Jack Westover from Washington, was on that national championship runner-up team a couple of years ago. Jack Westover 2 years ago on Washington is the man. He's running the tight end room. He gets to Patriot camp, he's back to being a worthless rookie. And go carry the bags. And just to see that, guys like Trayvon Henderson, the kid from Ohio State, the man last year, right? If he walks anywhere in Ohio, people are opening the door for Trey. Not this week, bro.
Yep.
You're carrying the balls. You're carrying the practice dummies. And just to see stuff like that reminds you of when we grew up, and it's kind of, it's not hazing, but it hasn't changed to where the rookies got to pay their dues.
Do they still have to sing?
Some
they
do.
still have to sing
the
or do
Lions
something.
still do it. I know the Bills still do it.
I'd be scared to death. Thank God that as a rookie I didn't have to do that crap. Although they did, that you do wear that moniker Rook all the time.
I love the head turners though. I love the undrafted guys.
Yep.
The guys where you're like, they don't have a number, but they make a play, and you're out there in training camp like, who was that? And you look through your thing. That's an undrafted dude from Southern Illinois who's played 1 year of football.
One AA or D2 or D3 school.
You get that in your system. So tomorrow is Patriots and Giants, and the Jets will start on Friday. Patriots in Foxborough. Again, that's free. Go there, show up, check the websites first because some of these days are sold out. They still have a limited capacity, a lot of these. The Giants are still in East Rutherford. They're right around, I think, Citi Field more than they are the big MetLife.
Yeah.
But still in that kind of area. The Jets are a little further. I don't know my New Jersey geography. Fairleigh Dickinson, that college
I don't even know
hosts
Connecticut,
them.
and I'm from here.
But that's free as well. So if you're a Giants,
Dickinson.
a Jets, or a Patriots fan, check out their website and get that in your system in the next couple of weeks.
I think
it's a lot of fun.
the pass and the timing patterns. I've over the last 20 years learning more about football. And learning how these quarterbacks throw to spots and stuff like that, I just think is marvelous. And the best in the business just know how to loft the ball over the defense, in between people, stuff like that. And they learn all this stuff in camp. They learn their people that they can count on in camp. Then you see it on Sunday, but all of this stuff is everything that they work on in training camp because football's that way. Football is, even going back to like when I played a lot of Madden football, you see the lines and the go routes and stuff like that. And you're like, now you could actually go to a camp and see how that's done. That's what I like Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks explains the game to you very well if you're like a passive fan and gets you to understand this is intricate stuff now. These guys have these really thick playbooks. Now they're on iPads or on laptops or whatever, but they've got an awful lot going on upstairs, more than just like, banging heads and going back and forth for the football.
I always take stuff from camp, man, when people say, it's just camp, it's just practice, don't worry about it. I remember 2 years ago, the talk out of camp was they did this third down exercise, 7-on-7 for the Patriots, and Mac Jones threw 4 or 5 interceptions. And everybody was like, oh my gosh, 4 or 5 interceptions. And a lot of people were like, no, man, it's camp. They're working on stuff. And maybe I was one of those people. Where's Mac Jones now? There's things that happen in camp that kind of wake you up to certain things. And you're right, with like the game of football, man, it's line it up and let's see. It's not like, this guy's height and weight projects out in the next 3 years where he's going to actually make this play. Now, we ain't got time for that. We ain't got any time for that. So it's line it up, let's see. Again, like my Panthers days, I thought Cam Newton was going to be a bust. And then I saw him run a 100-yard dash. And that's all I needed, man. All I needed. I remember when that defense in 2015 was smoking the offense. And everybody's like, wow, this offense sucks. No. The story should have been, this defense is going to be one of the most monumental defenses in league history. And you pick up little things in the first couple of weeks because you can kind of see it all come together. You see all the pieces merge. You see all the talent finally try to outshine one another. I can't wait, man. I'm really looking forward to this NFL season, and I think it gets started tomorrow in camp.
I remember Michael Strahan. He was joining us on the Best Damn Sports Show a lot out in L.A., and he was still an active player at 35, 36, and he would say all the time, he goes, if I didn't have to go to camp,
I know
I could play more because but he played back when they did 3-a-days under Tom Coughlin. And people were like, they thought he didn't like him. It had nothing to do with it. It's your body can't go through what they now. Spring training is totally different. Spring training is a lot of standing around or running or whatever. You're not getting the crap beat out of you. But a guy like Stray, who's a huge human being, by 36 years old, he had to make a choice.
Right.
Do I go through another camp or two, or do I retire? And he chose to retire. But I mean, when I look at him, out of 216 possible games, he started 205. And just think about that over the course of a 15-year career, Hall of Fame career, that he took his beatings and he just couldn't do all of the stuff necessary to prepare for the year.
And that was the Brett Favre story as well. Like, I'll argue that Brett Favre never retired. He just didn't want to go to camp. Like, the reason he didn't want to retire, he didn't want to go to Jets camp. The reason he retired, he didn't want to go to Minnesota camp. It may have been better for him. I argue that it always is. That when you're around the boys, you learn everything.
Right.
You get a better chemistry. But when you're talking about Strahan, when you're talking about Favre, when you're talking about a guy that's been in the league for 15 years.
And Aaron Rodgers.
I don't need to really do wind sprints anymore, man. Yeah. I don't really need to show you my maxes in bench. I don't really need to show you my out route throws. Like, let's line it up and let's play. Right. Let's see it. If I don't have it, I'll be the one to tell you, and you'll see it right away. But I don't know. I think guys like that did get burnt out a little bit from some of those lesser practices. But now, that's like ancient time because the NFLPA and the way the rules have changed. Right. They don't allow that kind of hard work.
When we come back, we'll switch to some baseball talk, the Daily Pickle. We got to talk about old man Rich Hill. I think this is 3-4 years ago we were making fun of old man Rich Hill over the hill. Over the hill will be starting for the Kansas City Royals at 45 years old tonight against the Chicago Cubs. It's the Rob Dibble Show with Ben Darnell on your afternoon drive. Thanks for keeping us on the air. Nick Federico is on our YouTube channel. We'll be right back.